Our next speaker is Mr. Osama Zubi. He's the Chief Technology Officer, Middle East and Africa at Cisco in Saudi Arabia. Today, he will be talking about the digital future powered by artificial intelligence. He'll be looking at the impact of emerging technologies on our world. I would like to invite Mr. Osama to please share your screen and start your presentation. Thank you.
Good morning and good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Unmute. Okay. So can you hear me now? And you can see my screen, obviously, right?
Yes, perfect.
Wonderful, wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, very good morning, very good afternoon to everyone. Apologies for this quick technical difficulties. My name is Osama Al-Zobi. I am the Cisco Chief Technology Officer in the region of Middle East and Africa. And it is really my great pleasure and honor to be here with you today. Before I start my presentation and talk, I really would like to wish everyone to be very your family and loved ones. Going back to my presentation, I think if we were to take a look just a year ago, I don't think any one of us would have imagined the world that we are living at. There is no, I think there is no way that any one of us does not realize the amount of changes that are happening to us, to our industries, as well as to our worlds. As a matter of fact, we believe that we are experiencing the highest rate of change in human history. This change and this accelerated change is actually fueled by many technology and emerging trends. Those emerging technology trends are ranging anywhere from the traditional things that we know about to all the things that we don't know too much about at this point. For example, when we look at from the connectivity perspective, we look at 5G and Wi-Fi 6 and where it is today and where it could potentially take us. When we start looking at potential connectivity trends, we look at, for example, the augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. Furthermore, we look at, for example, quantum computing. And in my view, the mother of all trends is artificial intelligence that's fueled by big data, cloud, as well as IoT, 3D printing, and many more. We look at this world that is changing. It is really changing at speed and rated. This was the case pre-COVID-19. And now, unfortunately, a very unfortunate pandemic hit us just about a year ago, a little bit less. And that has really changed everything. It has taken us from where many things were, let's think, let's discuss, let's reconsider, to let's move at speed. Let's take a look at the result of a survey that our teams at Cisco have conducted. For example, post-COVID-19, the survey that we have conducted shows that 81% of the respondents believe that COVID-19 has created the biggest pressure on technology and on the organization in the way that it should be used. Some organizations overnight, they went from 100% on-site to almost 100% working remotely. Also, 74% found that many of the projects that were either in hold or on discussion, basically, they were approved within weeks rather than years and months. And some of those projects had to be implemented extremely quickly. And again, the time range of those implementation went down from years, months to weeks, and potentially to days. This is what at least some of the indicators of what COVID-19 has done to our world. That impact did not leave any industry alone. Every single industry was forced to change. So for example, some of those use cases that were introduced extremely quickly, and many organizations had to act at speed and scale to cover a wide range of employees, from working virtually and working from home to enhancing and working and adopting the new security policy, because the world has shifted and trained to implemented and to implementing and adopting the social distancing and so on and so forth. Many of the use cases that we will talk about. Again, that disruption, that impact has actually impacted every single industry and has created tremendous change for all those organizations. As I mentioned earlier in my opening remarks, I believe artificial intelligence is the mother of all trends. According to PwC, that trend will create more than probably near $16 trillion economy by the year 2030 globally. And when a survey again by the Forbes that was done is that 75% of executives believe that AI will provide them and allow them to go into new business opportunity, and 84% believe that artificial intelligence will allow them even bigger competitive advantage. Let us take a look at what is happening within IT departments for every organization. We believed prior to COVID-19 that now IT and the way that CIOs are being measured is changing. However, COVID-19 even accelerated that further and really provided that leapfrog where now more than 80% of IT executives are being measured based on business outcome. And as we have heard throughout this morning, that now IT have to deal a lot more with less. They have to deal with complexity. They have to really build talent, as we have heard earlier. They have to really drive the digital transformation and digital disruption. They have to ensure and adopt the security policy and really drive security at scale, end-to-end with unified policy. And also they have to deal and grow the business revenue and move at the speed of business. We at Cisco believe that technology company should adopt those technology trends to provide the capabilities that are required for those organizations. Our philosophy and our strategy is very simple. Enabling any user using any device connected to any network to reach any application at any time securely and efficiently. Obviously, this is really very strong and powerful statement, and it is really hiding underneath massive complexity. But ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that this is the requirement of digital business. In order for us to allow businesses to deal with the complex world, companies and technology providers must enable that simplicity to really allow businesses to move into digital business and to allow them really to move at the speed of that business. Once again, we believe that we must be able to enable any user using any device connected to any network at any time to reach any application securely and efficiently. How are we doing that? We at Cisco believe that this is a new world and therefore requires fundamental redefinition on how we deal with things and fundamental rebuild of everything we knew. The old world that had got us into this stage over the past 3 to 4 decades will not take us into the future, and therefore we really must redefine everything. There is a new world, and when we start looking at connecting the unconnected from the human that are left without connectivity to everything else that will be connected, therefore we are creating tremendous opportunity. To us, we're looking at this, what we call the multi-domain architecture, that is built, number one, at enabling security end-to-end. Security that is really defined for the new world. There is no way that we can treat security in the same old way where our environment were confined with the walls of the offices. Our data center were confined with the walls of the data center. Today, it's anything but centralized. It's anything but limited to the walls. Users are everywhere. Devices are everywhere. Applications are everywhere. And therefore, this world must be looked at completely differently. Also, our applications are all over the place. For years, we have heard about BYOD, bring your own device, but also now it is really about bringing your own applications. Today, our applications might be in our data center, it might be consumed as a service, it might be running on the cloud. It is really all over the place, and therefore applications must be reimagined. When we look at infrastructure today, part of the infrastructure is under our control and big part of it is not. How do we deal with that is really a big question. And finally, empowering the teams and empowering the user experience, fundamental transformation in the way that we provide connectivity, providing the tools and the capabilities to every user in what we call the cognitive intelligent work. All of that powered by the artificial intelligence, built on a foundation that is mobile, social, cloud, and IoT. The first part is the security. Security is really foundational. It is fundamental. It must be looked at comprehensively. Defense in depth, layered defense. If a device is connected, not only it must be secured, but it also must participate in security. We at Cisco believe that security must employ advanced artificial intelligence algorithm, capitalize on the knowledge and the insight and the visibility that we can get from the data, couple that together to really provide the security at speed and scale to deal with the digital business requirement. It's really from the local visibility on the network to the global visibility, employing the global knowledge to really allow for that zero trust, 0-day attack, the capability that we need to provide to allow for that new world. And then looking at the entire network, as I mentioned earlier, transforming the infrastructure where we believe now, just like what we have done with the mobile application, where a device has transformed from being a rigid device that every time I make a change, I have to change the hardware, to now just I am able to deliver a service by downloading an application from the App Store. Similarly, the network really need to move to that complete transformation, software-defined architecture, from the branch to the data center to the cloud and everything in between, allowing for unified security policy and allowing us to deliver applications and to deliver services at speed and scale. As I mentioned earlier, COVID-19 had taught us that we are moving projects which used to take months and years to weeks and days. Similarly, the network will not wait for us, and therefore we need to be able to use that network to allow me to deliver the services that are required by the business. Moving on, today, the world is unbelievably complex. A lot of the organizations, companies, firms, and even government have looked to the cloud to deal with the gap that COVID-19 had created, and therefore the world is really very complex when we start looking at cloud. Some of those are private cloud, built on completely controlled and owned data centers. Some of that is on the public cloud. Some of that is really consumed as a service. How do we enable organizations as well as innovators to deal with the multi-cloud world, bringing simplicity and agility, capitalizing on the capabilities in a horizontal way to deliver on the multi-cloud promise? And the final pillar is around transforming the user experience, providing the right tools, the right application, the right capability to the user in a fully automated way. Now, whether that's run on the premise, whether it's on the cloud, or in a hybrid format, and enabling the use of artificial intelligence to augment the user capability with the technology capability to really accelerate that transformation. We at Cisco have been delivering and innovating around those 4 pillars because we have been talking about digital transformation for quite some time. Furthermore, to really accelerate the pace of innovation, we have opened horizontally the innovation to the entrepreneurs and to the innovators. So the technology that I talk about that's brought to you by Cisco now is also available on DevNet for entrepreneurs and innovators to start developing. We are working with our partners. We are working with our customers. We are working with our ecosystem partners to accelerate that pace of innovation by opening our platform for development as well as for innovation. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, if anything, COVID-19 has taught us that while we think we got control over the disruption that we are dealing with, then COVID-19 came out of nowhere and has really accelerated everything we are doing. And we don't even know where the next disruption will come. However, one thing will remain constant, that the technology is going to really enable us to create massive opportunity. There is no doubt that everything comes also with side effect and negative aspect. However, I believe if we join hands as humanity, we can A, enhance the quality of life, and B, create new opportunities and really allow for new transformation to enhance the quality of life, create jobs, and enhance the way that we are living in cities. It transform and enhance education, healthcare, and every single industry. With that, I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Dr. Hafiz, back to you.
Thank you, Osama. It was a great presentation. So I'll open the floor to the audience for questions. So please feel free to unmute your microphones or type in the chat window if you have any questions.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Osama. I'm Sunil here. It was an amazing presentation.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's an amazing presentation. One thing what I want to say is many companies, so AI is a key enabler for success, but unfortunately many companies don't give the importance for data at all. Data is taken as the last, though there's a new oil, everything, many companies, almost 85% of the data has been never touched or utilized. So further to say that, so again, especially for artificial intelligence, the key enabler is data. So how is Cisco looking at this fact?
Correct. So thank you, Sunil, for that really great question, and thank you for your comments and feedback. Yes, maybe I did not emphasize enough on data. I agree with you 100% that data is unbelievably critical. It is really the foundational pillar that allow for artificial intelligence transformation and acceleration in terms of development. If we look at what are some of the reasons of why we are today talking more about artificial intelligence than we used to talk before, it's really primarily because of the explosion of data. I believe, according to some study, that 90% of the world data that we are dealing with has been created in the past 2 years. But you are right. I think probably even the figures are staggering, is that we are only processing and dealing and benefiting probably from maybe 1 to 5% of this entire world data. We at Cisco take that extremely seriously. The way that, when I start talking about security, what allows us to really deliver in security at speed and scale, we really think that security require that we deal with data in a completely transformative way to deliver on the security promise. So I do agree with you that data is extremely critical and really must be dealt with in a completely different way.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience, please?
Dr. Hafiz, I really would like to thank you very much for the opportunity. Apologies for the technical difficulty early on. It was really my great pleasure and honor to be here with you. I'm available to, for later on any further chat and additional discussion. So thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Hafiz, and thank you, team, for listening.
Perfect. Thank you. It was a great talk, nice, and it was really nice. Thank you very much.